So everyone was very concerned. Well, I say everyone. People who are sympathetic to Israel, the West, and to sanity were very concerned that America was going to negotiate with Iran and potentially do a deal that could compromise Israel's security and maybe empower Iran in a way. Now, Trump, of course, President Trump gave many assurances that we're not going to trust Iran. It's all going to be based on proof and evidence that they're not going to be obtaining the bomb. But many people were concerned and skeptical and cynical. Nonetheless, regardless of various opinions that exist on negotiating with Iran, it now turns out that Iran has rejected negotiations. They have chosen to turn back on America's negotiation plea, and it looks like they're going full steam ahead. And now Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump have just got off the phone with each other. I want to report to you what has happened there. This, by the way, should validate very clearly the notion that we're not dealing with sane actors. People in the West often like to try and imagine that Hamas and Iran, others, they just have some legitimate grievances, and if you can just deal with them, then it'll be okay. It's the same way they thought about Hitler and the Nazis. They just feel upset in how they're treated post-World War I and the Treaty of Versailles. They just want a little bit more space and a bit of restoration of German pride. No, they want to take over the whole world and kill all the Jews and other minorities. No, God, that's outrageous. No, that is what they want. And we're dealing with another iteration of genocidal anti-Semitic maniacs that have existed throughout history. This shouldn't be surprising to anyone. Now, by the way, please do comment in the comment section. I'll try to reply to your comments because this is a live video. I'm recording this live right now, so I can see your comments. I can react to you. And that's one of the beauties of having this platform on YouTube, because I can actually interact with your comments. But I want to give you the story and the report as it's happening now. So the Jerusalem Post reported that President Trump spoke with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday, today, regarding Iran. The call came as Trump had been trying to accelerate aid into Gaza and had been trying to persuade Iran to give up its nuclear program. Following the conversation between the two world leaders, Netanyahu will hold a security meeting with the participation of Defense Minister Israel Katz, Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. The meeting will also include Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, as well as senior security officials, including the Chief of Staff, the head of the Mossad, and the head of the Shin Bet, Israeli media reported. In a previous phone call in May, following the shooting attack on two Israeli embassy workers in Washington, Trump warned Netanyahu against taking actions that could harm negotiations between America and Iran. Trump's message to Netanyahu was, this is not the time to escalate the situation while he's trying to resolve issues. According to a senior White House official, Trump told Netanyahu that he wants to reach a diplomatic solution with Iran and he did not want anything to interfere with that. The official said Trump's message to Netanyahu was that this is not the time to escalate the situation while he's trying to resolve the issues. But Trump emphasized to Netanyahu that the second option is still on the table. The second option meaning military action, but he preferred to explore a diplomatic solution first. The senior official said Trump could encourage Netanyahu to act cautiously during the call. But now, of course, the situation has very much changed on the ground, and they are walking away. They're turning away from doing a deal. So this is where it gets really critical, because a nuclear watchdog head has said that Iranians say an Israeli strike may push the state to build a nuke. That's what they're saying, and he's saying they're close to it. Now, by the way, I don't think that's an acceptable approach to say, well, if we strike them, then they might, build their nuke. They're already trying to do that anyway. And that's certainly not, from what I understand of Jewish morality. Someone tries to kill you, you kill them first. You don't say, oh, but if I provoke them, then they might, come back and hit me harder. You have to be smart, of course, in how you do it. But this whole notion of any retaliation is escalation and it's wrong is insanity. Again, that's what led to Hitler's conquest of Europe. Iranians told IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi that if Israel strikes its nuclear facilities, this could push them over the edge and they'll try to create nuclear weapons. A strike could potentially have an amalgamating effect, solidifying Iran's determination, I will say it plainly, to pursue a nuclear weapon or withdraw from the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. I'm telling you this because they've told me so directly, he added. This is a typical Iranian refrain that could easily be dismissed as psychological warfare. However, hearing it directly from the world's number one nuclear inspector, who has met with 3 Iranian presidents and many other top Iranian officials, is sobering. Again, not taking your enemies seriously is also a big rookie error that we're seeing here, evidenced in the words of this article. Further, while several Israeli officials have assured the Post that Israel can strike Iran's nuclear facilities, Grossi openly expressed doubt about this possibility. Discussing what Israel might do if no nuclear deal is reached in the foreseeable future, Grossi said, "What member states decide to do is their prerogative. I don't advise the Israeli government. They will decide what's best. But one thing is certain, the program runs wide and deep. And when I say deep, I mean it. Many of these facilities are extremely well protected. Disrupting them would require overwhelming and devastating force." By deep, Grossi was referring to the claim made by many military experts that Israel, lacking the American 30,000-pound mega bunker buster Moab, the mother of all bombs, does not have the capability of destroying Iran's nuclear facility under the mountain at Fordo and the new one being built beneath a mountain at Natanz. Grossi's willingness to engage in a dialogue about the possibility of an Israeli military strike, specifically regarding its feasibility and potential consequences, is also unprecedented. He's been asked many times over the years about the possibility of Israel attacking Iran's nuclear sites, and he's always explicitly opposed such an idea, saying that the time must be given to diplomacy to resolve the standoff. Grossi's readiness to analyse the possibility of a strike as a real, potentially near future option demonstrates just how much the discourse surrounding the issue has changed following Israel's successful elimination of all of Iran's S-300 advanced anti-aircraft missile systems on October 24, 2024. Of course, the whole conversation originates from a significantly escalated nuclear threat from Iran. It's one thing to see reports from the IAEA about how close the Islamic Republic is to obtaining several atomic bombs. It's an entirely different one to hear directly from Grossi himself Tehran has enriched sufficient uranium to produce around 10 nuclear weapons should it decide to finish the other nuclear weapons group tasks, such as resolving special detonation issues. They have been accumulating enriched uranium at a very, very high level of enrichment, which is 60%. To have a functioning nuclear device, you need 90% enrichment. So as you can see, there's a very narrow gap between what they already have and weapons-grade material. However, Grossi is eager to clarify an important point. The fact that Iran possesses enough enriched material to produce about 10 bombs does not mean it can assemble or use a nuclear weapon. This is a big but, especially when speaking to an Israeli audience. None of this means that they have the bomb. There are numerous activities and developments still needed to turn this material into something that can actually function as a weapon. He added that more time might be required before Iran is able to develop something with the actual effect of a nuclear weapon. Israeli and US intelligence, as well as top nuclear experts, have told the Post that the timeline Iran needs to resolve other issues relating to using atomic weapons could take anywhere between several months and a year from now. Grossi, who was appointed to lead the IAEA agency, has one primary focus since taking office: Iran's nuclear program. Now, I want to make a few points here. The first point that I think is most critical of all is, as I said, the Talmudic principle that if someone rises to kill you, go and kill them first. And I see we already have in the comment Joseph G, who is saying, "I thought you were going to attack Iran for the last 10 years. Well, indeed. I mean, I don't run Israel's government, but this principle means if someone comes to attack you, you attack them first. Even if it means there's civilian casualties on their side, they started it. Because there's going to be some non-combatant casualties, therefore I have to sacrifice my nation. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. So this is really, really important to understand. This is something that Israel, regardless of how close Iran is or isn't to a bomb, if that's what they're pursuing, if they're saying every single day in speeches, in parliament, on the radio, down with Israel, down with America, if they've already sent hundreds of missiles, it was a total watershed moment recently in the war, where instead of using their proxies of Hezbollah, Hamas and the Houthis, Iran got directly involved in the war. Which, by the way, Israel faced a miraculous salvation from, protection from, with 300 missiles, drones, ballistic missiles, lobbed over into Israel. And there wasn't one Israeli casualty. But the point is that Israel has a moral obligation to stop Iran. As does America, by the way, because they're going for America next. They say down with Israel and down with America. So they have every right, every duty to stop Iran in its tracks, and the sooner the better. But what I have to tell you is incredible and amazing. And I did this I covered this in a video on JTV a few months ago, and maybe I'll put a link to it in the video description, is that there actually has been, thousands of years ago, a prophecy about what's happening right now. The Talmud has a remarkable prophecy that talks about how in the future, in the end of days, there's going to be a showdown between Persia, it calls, and Iran. Now, this is an absolutely mad prophecy. And in fact, you know what? I'm actually going to get up the video for you to see it. So you can see that what we're seeing right now, it was described in so much detail, so clearly, so long ago, 2,000 years ago. Have a watch of this. I want to read to you a passage from the Talmud, probably written around 1800 years ago. Rabbi Yitzchak said, "In the year that the Mashiach, the Messiah, will be revealed, all the kings of the world will fight with each other. The king, or the leader, which is what it really means, of Persia, which in today's terms would be Iran, will fight with the king of Arabia, most likely in today's terms, Saudi Arabia. And the king of Arabia will go to Edom and take advice from them." Edom, in Jewish tradition, refers to the Christian Western world, and so this is probably likely to represent the most dominant country in the Western world. Most likely, if we had to pick it, we would say America. And it says, "The king of Persia, in return, will set out to destroy the whole world, and all the nations of the world will make noise and panic, fall on their faces, and feel pains like the pangs of childbirth. And Israel will also shout out and panic and wonder, where can we escape to? Where can we escape to? Where can we escape to? But God will say to them, my children, don't be afraid. Everything I did was only for your sake. So why are you afraid? Don't be afraid. The time of your redemption has arrived. And this last redemption, God says, will not be like the previous one. After the previous redemption, you had suffering and were under the rule and slavery of the nations. But after this final redemption, there will be no more suffering, nor will you be under the rule of nations. This is just utterly mind-blowing. The fact that this was written nearly 2,000 years ago, and it looks like a perfectly plausible commentary on the current situation, which has only just recently developed. It's just utterly remarkable. And hopefully this can give us some confidence and strength that we have a God who is in control, and that the Jewish people have come through far too much for God to be done with Israel. What's clearly going to happen, and what we're going to see manifesting, is God's hand being revealed behind all these events. It's totally miraculous and bizarre in and of itself that the world is so obsessed with Israel, that people, whether they're in Melbourne, Australia, or in Tokyo, Japan, or in Washington, America, have such an intense obsession, whether for good or for bad, with Israel. But what's happening is God is handing the Jewish people the microphone and encouraging us to share the message that he gave to us all those years ago at Mount Sinai. And the destiny of the world and the Jewish people is coming to fruition. So, this kind of makes me speechless, this kind of stuff. The fact that this was written thousands and thousands of years ago, and yet it's so clearly manifesting before our eyes, should give us a huge amount of confidence. And I really think that we should increase our faith at this time. We should trust that God is the God of Israel. He's the God of Israel who does not forsake his people. And we've already seen incredible miracles in since Israel's re-establishment being surrounded by a sea of enemies and yet being able to survive. But also in recent years, look how they managed to destroy Hezbollah in the north just recently, when everyone said it's going to be a bloody war to get rid of or to significantly degrade Hezbollah. So I want to encourage you all to have a lot of faith and confidence at this time. I'll get to your comments now before we wrap up. And I also have something I want to share with you as well while I get to your comments. And that is this. This is the debut of, or rather a sneak peek, but it's the first time I've spoken about this, of a new initiative, a new platform that I'm going to be launching fairly soon. And here it is. Drum roll, please. This is it. JTV Plus. This is going to be a new website platform that we're building that is going to contain exclusive interview content, premium documentaries, all to do with issues that we talk about on JTV every day. It's going to be a subscription-based platform, sort of like a Jewish JTV Netflix. And we're going to have some of the content also on the JTV YouTube channel. But in order to, number one, protect ourselves from possible social media censorship, we want to also have a platform on a different website. Number two, it will allow us to invest and grow our content so we can have even more of an impact and have more variety and iterations of the content that we're putting out, so we can reach different people, different backgrounds, and multiply our impact tenfold. So I really hope that you'll be able to join me on this next stage of the journey. By the way, JTV on YouTube and everywhere will continue to be going at 100 miles an hour, but we're really excited to be launching JTV Plus soon, and already have a whole variety of really, really cool content that I'm really, really excited to show you about. So lastly, let's get to your comments now. We have Barbara Downey saying, take out those nukes. Well, yep, absolutely. Robert saying, look up to the Most High. Absolutely. That ultimately is, as the psalmist says, from where does my help come? My help comes from God, from the God of Israel. Absolutely right. Hashtag says, it's now or never. Israel has to make stand now, once and for all. It's just pity the West doesn't understand what's in the balance here if Israel falls. Absolutely right. See if we've got any other comments here. Because the Hamas manly handshake says, because the Hamas pride brought it upon their own kids by poking the bear for decades. Of course, the whole Palestinian problem is entirely self-inflicted. All the victimization they claim about is self-inflicted. So look, thank you all of you for commenting, for watching, for being a part of JTV and supporting everything we're doing. It's so greatly appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video and on the next live. And as I say, I hope also on JTV Plus. Thanks so much, everyone.